For Off the Block, I'm Vane Lipson. We are now joined by Penn State men's volleyball coach Mark Pavlik. And Coach, first and foremost, thanks for doing this post-match interview with us. Tough loss for your team last night to St. Francis in the EIVA tournament. How would you assess your team's performance in this tough loss for you guys?
Well, I think any assessment of our team's performance first has to be prefaced by saying that St. Francis played a very good match. They've had a very good year. This is a great step forward for not only Coach Mike Rumbaugh and the St. Francis team, but I think this is something that the University of St. Francis also takes great pride in. So, having said all of that, you take a look at how we did. I think this season for me is going down as the season of the missing side out. There are points in matches and points in games where you have everything under your control. If you execute what you are trained to execute, it makes a pathway to victory a little bit easier.
And Pav, I know hindsight's always 20/20 when we talk about a match like this, but was there any considerations that you had during the match of maybe doing some type of lineup shakeup or anything like that, or doing something, or was it more, these are the guys who got me to this point, I'm go with them?
Well, I think that's the major part of it, and it wasn't the fact that those guys weren't getting us leads or closing gaps. It was, it's one of those. I think it's kind of damned if you do, damned if you don't type of thing. We weren't getting blown out. We were in the running. You start to balance that with, well, whatever change I make, it's got to be better. And I think most coaches make those changes with the history of what those changes have done for you in the past. And I don't think there was anything that really told us, look, we're going to get a boost of 5 points here, or a boost of 3 points there, or more blocking, or better passing than we've had. And I made the decision to kind of stay the course. And you're right, 2020 is very powerful at this point, but pretty confident that the guys we had on the court were the guys that could win and lose it for us.
Yeah. And Pav, I know that you guys take pride in the history at Penn State, not only you, but your players. What did you say your team after the match? Because I'm sure that these guys were taking the loss pretty tough. I mean, first time Penn State hasn't been in the NCAA tournament since the 1990s.
Yeah, in all honesty, then I truly didn't know what to say. It's been a while since I personally have been in that situation, and the emotion in the locker room spoke volumes. I think, people say things happen for a reason. Not sure I completely buy into that. I think things happen, and the reason you give your response to that happening really paves the way for your future decisions. So kind of shared with them the thought that, you can sit here and let this loss deflate you and sap your emotion, which in athletics, when you strive for excellence and you fall short, that's probably a very predictable response to it. But a loss is really a loss if you don't learn from it. And I firmly believe, 12 hours later, 16 hours later, that this will be the next launch pad for the next era of Penn State men's volleyball. And I think it's going to be a pretty exciting one.
Right. And Coach, just kind of going off that a little bit, I know that some people are probably hitting the panic button, or in terms of fans, I know you aren't. But with the guys that you have, I know you would have wanted them to win, but I'm sure that you're still happy with the group of kids that you have and know that they'll bounce back from this?
Yeah, I really, that's what makes it even tougher. This group was so much fun to be in the gym with, so much fun to be on the bus with. And it just, you feel sorry for them on a personal level. The athletic, the team level, where I think at times you get caught looking at your players as assets and exchangeable pieces. when it comes right down to it, the relationships that you build are the one.
Yeah, and Coach, you mentioned a little bit earlier talking about this senior class. Obviously they, tough to go out this way, but, what do you feel that they were able to bring to this program just in their 4 years here?
I think their work ethic was second to none. I think there was they had over the course of their career found a joy in competing. Matt Seifert is one of the best competitors we've ever had in this program. And, that you had Zach Perrick, who for 4 years found a way, as he put it in his words, found a way to be on the court and contribute to this team, either as a setter or as a serving specialist. And the way he worked in practice was something that lent him credibility whenever it came time to voice an opinion or to make sure everybody knew what page everybody had to be on. Taylor came in as he spent 5 years with us, as did Seifert. They mirrored each other very well. Spencer Sauter and Andrew Roberts, whatever role we asked them to do, they not only embraced it, they really enjoyed being on the court with their teammates. So, it's been to say what they've done over 5 years. I think they've really tried to project an image that you'd want in a Penn State men's volleyball student athlete.
And Coach, just watching the online stream last night, you could tell that not only your team, but St. Francis was absolutely playing their heart out. And I want to ask you, I know you're concerned with your guys, but as an opposing coach, what do you say anything to the opposing players or to Rummy after a match like that?
Yeah, I don't know what other coaches do, and in that time, I just know that I've always growing up and watching winning coaches and losing coaches at the end of matches. Everybody knows it's something that the thrill of victory, the agony of defeat, has been probably pounded into our generation then, and I'm just bound and determined to make sure that I'm as consistent as possible with the opponent and with our team. One of that is, deep down, I'm a fan. Deep down, I'm a fan of the EIVA. So taking off my Penn State men's volleyball head coach hat, putting on an EIVA fan hat, I'm thrilled for the EIVA. We've been trying to say for the last 5 or 6 years, we've had some pretty good teams here at Penn State. And maybe some people were saying, yeah, but you're in the EIVA and they don't do. We've been trying to say the EIVA is growing. It's doing the right things. It's happening.